Hi, my name is Tema Moss. My address is 19700 North 76th Street. I live in North Scottsdale. Between the years of 2020 and 2022, I lived in the Arcadia area of Phoenix at 47th Street and Thomas Road. Keep in mind that this was during COVID, when traffic was a lot lighter than usual. So during the time I lived in Arcadia, I would drive down Thomas Road several times a week to access the 101. Thomas is a very busy road, and it is a major route to get on and off the 101. An alternative is to take Indian School, which has even heavier traffic. You cannot remove lanes from Thomas Road without disrupting the lives of people who use it to commute to other parts of the valley, or impacting the businesses who rely on customers to get to their location. It is also unreasonable to assume that someone who lives in Arcadia but works in North Scottsdale could ride their bike or take public transportation to get to work every day. I am all for making Scottsdale a more walkable and bike-friendly city. I lived in downtown Chicago for over 15 years, so I'm very familiar with walking to the grocery store and taking public transportation. I would love for Scottsdale residents to have that option. However, there are other ways to accomplish this without obstructing access to a major freeway. And with that, I encourage you to vote no on the Thomas Road project.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I do want to point out that the agenda item is for the acquisition, as stated, for light poles and ADA access. That is the question tonight. It's not about getting to North Scottsdale or any restriping. The agenda item, please focus on that. Please, again, focus on the subject that we're dealing with right now.
I am here tonight. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to change my remarks a little bit. One of the things that I am going to say, which is probably maybe considered inappropriate, but I noticed that there has been a push to try to change the name Diet Road. The idea is that you make it a name that nobody knows what it means.
Marilyn, I'm just going to say that this subject is not necessarily what we're doing here. Excuse us, please. I will repeat because some people may have arrived late. Excuse me, sir. No, I'm asking for that because I don't want a definition. Excuse me, sir. That's enough.
Thank you.
Marilyn, you know what I mean. Thank you. Okay, we have an agendized item, and I will. Excuse me, sir. You don't have. You're on the list to speak, and you can speak when you're called upon because the term and this other discussion is over.
The city engineer just mentioned lane reduction.
Well, she said it was irrelevant to it. That's what she said. Yeah. So that's what she said. Now
we're going at it.
She said either way, the acquisition and what's on the agenda pertains to the purchase of property and easement for these, whether or not anything is funded later or not. So that was a pretty clear indication, not opening it up.
Well, I'll conclude my point of order question. I would just say that if it's gray or on the line, we should err on the side of letting more people speak than fewer, and that would be my preference. Thank you, Mayor.
I would like to make
Here
a comment.
to our own rules. Yes.
And it's not a nice comment, but it needs to be made.
Yes.
This is the first time you've enforced that rule. all of us have spoken off topic and it was never stopped. Why is tonight the night? No, I'm tired of this nonsense. It
No,
is
it's-
not okay.
Thank
We
you.
know if we pass A, then it will be B. And you have never enforced this rule before.
Excuse me, and the rest of that sentence is, "Thou shalt not refrain from personal attacks and indecorous language." That's a rule that you and I and the whole group, yes?
I will say I find it rather disingenuous that this is made clear at this time. I sort of feel as though the rug's been pulled out from under us.
My name is Marissa Hamilton, Mayor, members. I find the display here tonight very concerning. You all sit there governing with the consent of the governed. This meeting doesn't belong to you. This meeting belongs to we the people. And in reference to that item, I think I mentioned before that I worked at the City of Phoenix City Council, and I'm very familiar with the games that we're seeing in front of us. Essentially, this meeting has just become an act of ceremony. I heard many times tonight, mag this, mag that. It seems like you're subservient to this entity that the people here didn't elect. The time here, the time of public comment, is actually for the people and by the
Well,
people.
thank you, and I appreciate if you wish to speak to the agenda item or
I
the
am speaking
validity
to
of
the
the
item, sir.
I'm listening to that portion of it.
Mayor, I am speaking to the item and you're taking my time. The issue here at hand is about eminent domain, and the people here are using their speech to protect the property rights of the citizens here. And so we also just found out that your data is outdated, so you're irresponsibly making a vote without having the proper data. You've already disturbed and disrespected your fellow council members. I think that you need to take the time to cool off, get the proper data in front of you, let the citizens be fully informed with what you're actually voting on, and just table this issue today. Table it and have a comprehensive look at the agenda item so that you have full transparency as to what the voters in front of you can actually understand what you're voting on. Creating this like ceremony, this like song and dance, this let them eat cake speeches one after another is really just unnecessary, and it's disrespectful to your constituents. And I just want to remind you who gave you consent to govern. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mayor Ortega, with all due respect, you cannot separate road diet from this project. And don't shut me up, okay, because I'm going to tell you why. Let's show that on the projector, please. If you note, this is the city's own comment card from the April 17th Design Center open house, which many of you were at. You notice what it says here? Thomas Road Complete Street Project. Anybody in the industry knows that complete street equals road diet. So you've already admitted that this is a road diet project. It's here. It's right on here. Secondly, if we go to the agenda item for this agenda, not some other foreign agenda that you're accusing us to be talking about. This agenda, page 56, before, after, you're eliminating a car lane, you're adding 2 bike lanes. That's a road diet. It's part of this packet, this agenda, and you are silencing people from speaking against it. One more page, page 57. Again, same thing, existing, proposed. These are pages on your agenda that you're voting on. And furthermore, staff censored 34 comment cards out of the, guess what? Thomas Road open house, not some other open house, this. This is really going to be really bad, and I hope that you guys can get your acts together.
Thank you, sir. Next, any other person wishes to speak to the agenda item on acquisition?
Once again, ladies and gentlemen of Scottsdale City Council, I have a couple simple questions. Example, on item 25, you're using eminent domain. For what reason? What is eminent domain exactly? It's theft. That's all eminent domain is. It's the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, so let's just steal from the few, steal from the business owners. That's exactly what eminent domain is. My second question is, as of this morning at 9 a.m., the comment cards from the April 17th meeting were not included in the council report. Why weren't any of these? That's censorship. That's censorship of everybody who does not agree with your eminent domain push. And then I'm also looking at who really is responsible for suppressing public comment on this. And then we go back to a statement that one of you city council members said earlier today. I keep hearing road diets and public comments, but all we're doing is making our roads bigger and better. Well, here's a question. How are you making it bigger and better if you're taking a lane out, you're taking a sidewalk out, and you're stealing somebody's business? Honestly, that's all I got to say.
And again, if someone wants to discuss things outside, they may.